Welcome back to the channel, folks. Thank you for joining another comparison video. We're going to take a look at System Shock. This is the remake that they've done. Well, it's a remaster. I think it's a remaster, but it's essentially like a remake since it's such an old game. But this one is from Night Dive Studios. They took on the IP, and now they've kind of done the work. They have an engine that they've built to be able to convert games much easier from like the N64 and old PC days. I don't know if they used that on this one, but they've definitely done it for like some of their other titles that came from like the N64 days, and they brought them to PC. There's nothing we have to do for compatibility here. We can go ahead and back out. We've got our control already set up, the official layouts. And let's just jump in and take a look at what they've done here on these two devices. So we've got an OLED, and we've got an LCD. If you haven't joined before, this is just a comparison. Not a lot of gameplay happens here because it's kind of tough to showcase gameplay, but I will showcase some of the areas, kind of talk about what the battery performance is between the two, you know, where you're seeing an advantage with the OLED screen versus the LCD, HDR, things like that. This game doesn't support HDR to my knowledge, so we don't have to worry about that. So it's a couple different things, but yeah, we'll let it run, kind of get loaded up, and then we'll take a look and see how the performance is. Now, a couple of things to note, as I say in all these videos, the LCD, older chipset, smaller battery. OLED has the newer, smaller chipset, which is a little bit more efficient, and the larger battery pack. Both devices will be set to unlimited frames per second. Essentially, 90 frames per second is the limitation, and then 60 frames per second on the LCD. So 90 and 60. This does have the OLED screen. This is the LCD screen. So let's go ahead and jump in. And we'll just take a look at options. Now, I don't think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think they supported Steam saves on this game because it's not bringing up my save that I already have. So we're going to just start a new game on each, and we'll take a look from that point. If we go down to graphics here, we can see everything's set to medium. And let's take a look at display. We should be 1280 by 800 on both. It's set at 100% resolution scaling, so there's nothing there that's changing it. Motion blur's turned off, VSync's turned off. Brightness is the same. So yeah, we're pretty much set on the same thing. Let's go ahead and back out. Take a look at the device settings itself. We've got, you know, I didn't charge these 100% up, but we'll keep an eye on that. But if we go into our settings, we've got 60 FPS limitation there, 90. We're not going to set any limits. We're just going to the max of each device. And that's really it. We'll have our overlay, and let's jump in and take a look. So we're going to start a new game on both devices, and we'll let it kind of play through a little bit. There we go, we'll confirm. And let's just see how the opening scene looks. Now, if we keep an eye on our FPS and basically our analytics, performance analytics up on the top of the displays, you'll start to see a couple of things. You'll see that the OLED in some cases is just going to be slightly below, but slightly over sometimes in terms of the power usage right here. Usually your LCD will run the highest power usage in terms of watts out of the two. There's been a couple cases where a game allows the OLED to just deliver as much performance as possible, and because of the 90 frames per second cap here and the 60 frames per second cap on the LCD, you're going to use more to take full advantage of 90 frames per second. So sometimes, every once in a while, you'll see a game that will allow it to like use more watts on the OLED than the LCD. But here in this case, it's doing what it normally does, where the LCD is kind of working hard to get to that 60 FPS where the OLED does not need to work as hard. The chipset's more efficient. We've talked about that. You can kind of see the GPUs are running pretty much the same. A little bit more on the OLED, it seems, like 99, 98% GPU usage, where this one's fluctuating a little bit down here. in terms of PC or CPU usage, we're using a little bit more up here. But again, it's a little bit more efficient on both of those than the LCD version. Battery's a little bit bigger as well. There is a charge difference here. You can see kind of like this one still got 45%. This one only has 18%. That's because I didn't charge them all the way up and it's just utilizing what's available. But if we were to guess, because this is running so high on the watt consumption, power consumption, I would probably say this game's going to get you about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more on the LCD. In terms of this one, you're probably going to see 2 hours, 2.5 hours, somewhere in between there on the OLED. So we should be able to move around right now. Kind of see in the room, we're around about 54, 55 frames per second. Equally, devices are performing the same in terms of frames per second. Look around, we can see kind of the rain effects outside. Takes us down a little bit. I think we've got to work our way over this way. If I remember the opening of the game here. Don't know if we have to go into the bathroom or not as the tutorial, but I think if we select it, we can. Oh, no, just look at the door. There we go. There might be a couple items in here, but just a different room to look at. I think if we go back to our screen, oops, go. We can kind of kick off and get to the next part of the game. Okay, now we've loaded into the next area, and you can see with the kind of frame rates where they're at, this is more of what you're going to expect when you're not in a cutscene or something of that nature, right? Like a menu system. It does run really smooth. I don't think we have to drop it down to the, the low settings to be able to keep playing it in a good frame rate or a consistent frame rate. Look here, I think we got to grab a couple items. Right, there's our weapon. If you've ever played BioShock, there's a little bit of a BioShock type feel to the game. How do I pick this up? Hopefully I don't have to hit a button underneath because that makes it much tougher to record these. Yeah, you can see there's not much of a difference here in terms of performance. I mean, we could limit the OLED down to 60, and you could see a considerable difference in terms of that. Right now, the LCD is using less power than the OLED because the OLED is able to do a little bit more in terms of frames per second, stuff like that, so it's not capped as much. So if we go in here and we make an adjustment, let's go down to our frame rate limiter. We'll just drop this down to 60. Then come back up and let it kind of settle in at that new frame rate cap. You'll have a consistent 60 on the OLED for sure. There's no doubt about that. But let's just kind of get us in the same area. But now you see we're running a little bit less. We're running 18 watts, 17.9 to 19.1. So that, limiting this down with the efficiencies it has, you're going to get a little bit more out of it. I don't know if we can get really anywhere else quickly, but this was just to kind of show the differences and what you could do. I think we have to charge this up. I believe so. Again, kind of that BioShock-esque thing that I was talking about where you kind of have like a little magic that you use to like open doors and stuff like that. Oh, look at these guys. What are they up to? They're going to block my way. There they are. They're all over the place. Okay, anyhow. So what we're going to do is zap this. And I believe that's probably one of the buttons over here. I'm not mistaken. I haven't played in a while. There we go. There we go. Duck. Come on. Duck. Where's our duck? There's our duck. Why can't I move here? Am I stuck on something? I got stuck. I don't know why. I'm kind of stuck in this weird area. Maybe I can hit my way out. Something within the game has gotten me to where I can't use my legs. Is it something I clicked on? Oh, there we go. Whatever it was, I was unable to move. I don't think I've ever seen that mechanic in a game, so I'm guessing it was just I was stuck on something. So now we're inside the little area. I think we just got to hit our button here and we'll unlock one of the doors. Or turn the lights on. Maybe that's it. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played this. There we go. And do we have to do something with this one? I think we may. There we go. We're just adding new stuff left and right. Okay. Now we can go to the next area, I think. Oh boy. All over. There we go. Well, we just got out of that area. We need to know the code. I don't remember the code off the top of my head. I would have to go search for it. And I don't see that. But you can kind of see where the performance is and where you're going to get the benefit of like doing a limit on your frame rate per second versus... Oh, some guys are attacking me here. You're going to get the benefit of limiting your frame rates per second or just letting it, wide open on the LCD so you can actually get that 60 frames per second on the medium settings. Again, if we were to go up to high, you're going to lose out on that. If we were to go to low, probably you're going to be able to maintain it a little bit better, but realistically, with this game, probably medium settings is your best experience on both devices. Obviously, the OLED's going to give you that more consistent 60, even if you limit it down. It's gonna hold there rather than where the LCD will bounce up and down. But that's just a quick look at System Shock. The reason why this game came out about a year ago. Now it's out on, I think, Steam Deck, or now it's out on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. It's been on the Steam Deck for a while. I don't think they've done many optimization updates, but they did do one or two, and it runs very well, so the game plays just fine. And it's a nice game. System Shock got a little bit of revised life or revamped life in it because they wanted to do some remakes and some re-releases and remasters, and they even made a version that goes on Pinball FX. So there's a pinball table with System Shock. If you ever want to check that out, you can find that on Steam as well. Thanks again, folks, for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Get in here, enjoy all the content. There's 1,000 videos or more on Steam Deck stuff. And you can also find lots of new things to look at for different devices like the Legion Go. Also do a weekly show called the Weekly Factor live stream, and that's on Saturdays. There's a daily poll that goes up. If you're subscribed, you get notified, and you vote on what games you want to see on that weekly show. Appreciate everybody. Click that subscribe button, like I said. Click the like button. That would be a big help. Always appreciate the exposure, getting the videos more visible. And also leave your comments if you've ever played System Shock below. Love to know how many people actually know what this game is and how it kind of is related to BioShock. Thanks again, folks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.